What was the best "do you know who I am" moment you've experienced? My neighbor Margaret moved into our fancy neighborhood last spring. She was this quiet lady in her 70s who mostly kept to herself and worked in her garden every morning. She had these gorgeous flower beds that her late husband apparently planted years ago before they moved here. Everything was peaceful until Brad became our new HOA president. This guy was maybe 30, worked in finance, and acted like he owned the entire subdivision. He drove this obnoxious white BMW and would literally cruise around looking for violations. One Tuesday morning, I'm getting my mail when I see Brad marching up to Margaret's door with his clipboard. Through my kitchen window, I watched him hand her some official-looking papers. Margaret just nodded politely and went back inside. That weekend, I ran into her at the grocery store. She seemed upset, so I asked what was wrong. Turns out Brad had given her a violation notice for having unauthorized lawn decorations. Her husband's flower beds apparently violated the new beautification rules Brad had pushed through last month. She had 3 days to remove them or face daily fines starting at $50. I was furious. Those flowers were beautiful and way nicer than anything else in the neighborhood. But Margaret just smiled and said she'd handle it. Monday evening, I'm grilling burgers when I hear shouting from Margaret's front yard. Brad is standing there, red-faced, waving his arms around while Margaret calmly waters her petunias. His voice carries across the street. "Do you even know who I am? I'm the head of this entire community. I have the authority to fine you into bankruptcy." Margaret sets down her watering can and walks over to him. She's holding this manila envelope and her voice is steady but firm. "No, but I helped write the zoning laws that define your job. You're not just wrong, you're also violating Section 3B11, and I've already filed a complaint." Brad's face goes from red to pale in about 2 seconds. Turns out Margaret had spent 40 years working for the city's zoning department. She literally helped draft half the housing codes our county still uses today. The packet she handed him contained copies of state homeowner protection acts, legal precedents, and documentation proving his new rules violated multiple housing statutes. She'd also included photos showing that his own yard had violations he'd been ignoring. Brad tries to argue, but Margaret pulls out her phone and starts reading directly from the legal codes. She knew every section number by heart. The poor guy looked like he wanted to disappear into the sidewalk. 3 weeks later, the HOA board voted Brad out after Margaret presented her case at the monthly meeting. Apparently, several other residents had similar complaints about his power trips, but nobody knew how to fight back until Margaret showed them the legal pathway. The kicker? The board asked Margaret to join as the new compliance officer. She accepted on one condition. They had to approve a community garden where everyone could plant whatever flowers they wanted.